Hey guys, what's up? My name's Ines. I write kissing books, and in this video, I want to show you how I create a targeted Facebook audience for my books. So I'm here in Facebook Ads Manager. You can do this from your Facebook. I don't even know what it's called anymore, you guys. So if you don't have Ads Business Manager, yeesh, you need to get Business Manager because I don't even know, and hopefully no one has said anything crazy on my page. But where do you go? From here, I think you come over here if you don't have Business Manager, but then again, get Business Manager. And I guess you would go to Manage Ads. I'm really not sure. You need to figure out how to get Business Manager because I did this so long ago that I don't even know how to do it. So yeah, I come to Business Manager. I don't do boosted posts because I like the granular control that I have over audiences through Business Manager. So yeah, figure out how to get Business Manager. It doesn't cost any money. You just tell Facebook you want Business Manager and they give it to you. Okay, so let me come into Business Manager because here's all of my pages for my Sinead pen, my Ines pen, and then my NS pen. When you're in Business Manager, what I want to do, I'm not going to create an ad today. I'm going to show you specifically how to create an audience. So I'm going to come into Audiences. So Facebook loads all the audiences that I've created over the years, and I've been working with Facebook ads since 2014. So I've got a lot of audiences in here, but I'm going to create a new audience because I'm about to get the rights to some urban fantasy romance books back. I'm so excited. So I'm going to start building an urban fantasy romance audience. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to create a new saved audience. I've used custom audiences and lookalike audiences. I've never used a special ad audience, so I don't even know what to tell you about that. Custom audiences I use when I'm making, remember I talked to you about that warm audience, the people who clicked on my my ads before? That's where I go if I'm making a custom audience. I'll show you that at some point in the future. Lookalike audiences, I don't use much. I know people have had great success taking a lookalike audiences. I haven't had that same success, and I've tried multiple times. So once I try it more than once and it doesn't work for me, I give it up. But a lookalike audience is when you take an audience that has been successful for you, and then you tell Facebook, hey, look at all these people in this audience and find me other people just like these people. And it's called, look, guess what? A lookalike audience. But I haven't had much luck with those. I have more luck with my custom audiences and making a saved audience. So I'm going to make a saved audience. And right now it tells me that I could reach 230 million people. That's so, what's that billion? I can count. Wow, 230 million people. So I can reach that many people, but I don't want to reach all those people. I'd be paying for people who have no interest in urban fantasy romance. And know what I'm saying, urban fantasy romance, because urban fantasy readers don't like kissing in their books, and there's always kissing in my books. So I'm going to specifically look for urban fantasy romance readers, and that's not all those people right there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to title this UFR. I will title it UFR 2020. This will probably be the audience that I'm going to use for the rest of the year. And I'm not going to use any other custom audiences that I've previously created. This is a completely new audience. When I'm creating an audience, I like to go one location at a time. Most of my readers are in the United States, so I leave it to the United States. I've heard experts talk about when they create different audiences for different places, they make sure to make it a separate audience for each specific place. So a UK audience will be separate, an Australia audience will be separate, and that gives them better results. I usually only send my ads to the United States, and because I've looked at my analytics of who is coming to my page, who is engaging with my books, I know that 18-year-olds don't really read my books. So I go at least, I know that mostly people 30 and up read my books, but I'm gonna come around maybe 25 right now because this is kind of a new audience that I'm testing. 25 to 65 plus year olds. Men don't typically read my books because there's kissing in my books and they kiss everywhere. So men mostly seem to want to see the shoot 'em up stuff, and I don't really write the shoot 'em up stuff. I write the kissing stuff. So I limit my audience to just women. You have to know your audience, and you have to know if there's men or women, or if there's both in there. You have to know about the age of the people who read your audience, the age of the people who read your books. And honestly, mine's really 40 and up, but I'm trying to see if I can grab some 25-year-olds in here. We'll see. I can put in here English, but it doesn't really matter. But I always put it in there just because I was taught to always put it in there. So right now I've got US 25 to 65 plus year olds, women who speak English in the United States. And now we come to the money shot, which is the detailed targeting. And this is where I'm going to start to build my audience. So how in the heck do I do that? Well, the first thing, you need to know who reads the category, this genre, the subgenre of books that you particularly want to, the category of books that you're writing. You can do that by knowing author names. You can do that by knowing titles. You can also do that by knowing character titles or the book's world. For example, if I was writing YA vampire, I would definitely use Twilight and start talking about Twilight and Team Jacob and Team Edward. That probably has some fan pages in Facebook, but that's not what I'm doing. So authors, titles, fandoms, and then the other one that you could do is interest. For example, if we're talking about Twilight and vampires, then vampire romance. Or you could use television shows like what is I see it in my head, but I can't remember the names of it. The one with the Vampire Diaries. So you could use titles like Vampire Diaries, or if it was older vampires, like titles like True Blood. So you could use all these kinds of interests that your fans might have. Now, this is me. I don't like to mix that up unless the audience is too small. I like to do just authors and kind of the fandom in one ad, and then I like to do like television shows or movies in a different ad, because I feel like those are two separate types of readers. One's probably hardcore readers if they're following the author and the books and the characters, and one's probably not so much a reader if they're following the television shows and the movies, but you can still probably find some gems in there. Today, I'm just going to focus on authors who write urban fantasy romance. Here's another issue that you're going to run into, especially if you're an independent author. It's going to be hard for you to find the indies and the self-publishers who are kicking butt in your genre, because they probably don't have enough followers on Facebook for Facebook to make them available in the detailed targeting. I know, but that's when an Amazon ad would come in handy. An Amazon ad or a BookBub cost per click ad would come in really handy there. But because Facebook is really huge and people are constantly looking at it on their phone, I want those eyeballs. So I need to find the traditional authors who have published urban fantasy romance and paranormal romance, because sometimes those cross over and have similar audiences. So that's who I need to find. And I have gathered myself a list of the people who write those books. And now I'm going to go and start looking to see if they are here in Facebook. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite authors, Rochelle Mead, who wrote the Succubus series. And there she is. She's got 108,000 people who are interested in her. And when you also see that below that there's also a small little fandom for the Vampire Academy, which is not the type of books that I write. But that's good to know. I'm not going to include Vampire Academy because I'm much more interested in her grown Succubus series books, which features a succubus who's in love with an author. But the succubus has to go and have sex with other people in order to stay alive, and she can't have sex with her boyfriend that she loves because it'll kill him. I love that series. Sorry. Okay, let's keep going. Another good person might be Jim Butcher, who writes the Harry Dresden Files, but I hesitate to do that because it's going to be a lot of guys reading those books, and there's not a whole bunch of romance in there. But I want to see if I put in his name, like what else comes up. So if nothing else comes up. And you see he has about 204 people. I'm not even going to put him in there. So if you see, I like to see what else Facebook recommends. Kelly Armstrong is another awesome UFR writer, 163. That's good. And I'm counting because you see how that number went from 230 million down to 140 people. I like my audiences to be at least 1 million people because I want to run my ad for a long time. Let's keep going. So that was from Rochelle Mead, and Did she have any suggestions? Oh, cool. She does have some suggestions. So blah, 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 blah. Patricia Briggs is on my list with 330. Charlene Harris, who writes the Sookie Sackhouse Mysteries, is on my list. Alona Andrews is on my list. Kim Harrison. Kim, how many you got? 127. That works. Nalini Singh, 100%. Christian Cressley Cole is my girl. She writes more paranormal romance, but she has that crossover type of audience. As long as there's kissing, they might like my books. Gina Showalter, she is UFR all day. Christine Feehan. Didn't I just do Christine Feehan? No. Christine. Laurel K. Hamilton. Why are you skipping around? Sherilyn Kenyon. Yes. Laurel K. Hamilton. Stephanie Meyer makes me a little bit nervous because she does vampire romance and it was YA. But here's the thing. Her readers are now grown like me. So I might get some good stuff there. I'm nervous. Ooh, and she has a 3 million. Oh, this is a good thing to talk about. Her audience is about 3 million people. I am not going to include you in this audience, Stephanie Meyer. I might do an audience just with her alone and see how that works out for me, because 3 million is a big number. And she could potentially, if her audience doesn't work with my books, she could weigh my ad down. So that's something that I would test all on its own. Where am I? How many? 740,000. I'm still trying to get to my million. So Stephanie Meyer, not gonna do it. Cassandra Clare, I would say no to her too, because she does more YA, and even though her readers are growing up, because I used to read those books. It's not the flavor. I do my hero and heroines are a bit more older, dealing with a bit more grown people stuff. Karen Marie Moaning, yes. Janine Frost, yes. Laura Lee, no. Nora Roberts, no. Carly Phillips, no. Okay, we're getting into the contemporary romance. Let me take a look at my list and see if I'm missing anybody. Anita Blake, who is written by Laurel K. Hamilton. So I have Laurel K. Hamilton, I think. Yeah, I've got Laurel K. Hamilton here. Anita Blake is her character. And she's the type of reader that I would want. She's urban fantasy with romantic elements. And she's got 183. There, 44, 750. I'm going to take this one. How am I doing? 790. Okay, so I got Anita Blake. Did I get Faith Hunter? 73. I will take you, my dear. I got Karen. I got Laurel. Mercy Thompson is another character. 37. I will take you, my dear. I got Charlene. Who else do I need? Lara Adrian. Did I get you already? Adrian. Lara Adrian. Ooh, just 380. Ooh, Lara Adrian books. I will do. Look at suggestions again. Nora, no. And I'm hesitant to do paranormal romance because see how big it is? It's 2.9 million. That's again something, because my goal is to get to 1 million with this audience. So this is something like Stephanie Meyer that I would try on its own, because it's so big, it would skew the rest of the results. I recommend when an audience is big like that, if it's over 1 million, you test it on its own to see if it works for you. Where am I anyway? I'm at 8.6. Okay. Oh, here's a good one too. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 31 million. Again, I would test this on its own. Urban Fantasy is 1.3 million. I would test this on its own. I'm not doing these other people. Here's another thing. Books in Amazon, I don't put them here. I put them somewhere else, and I'm gonna show you that in just a second. How big am I? It's not big enough. It's not big enough. I want more. I want more. I mean, I don't have to get to 1 million, but I really want to get to 1 million. Do you have any other suggestions for me? Other than no more suggestions? I'm not doing. Neil Gaiman, I adore Neil Gaiman, but he writes some urban fantasy. He can write whatever the hell he wants and be sexy while doing it, but he's not my audience. No, I'd be really nervous to mix that with paranormal romance. I want to do that by itself. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Can't think of anybody else. Oh, this Stephanie Meyer is calling to me, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it here. No, not gonna do Cassandra Clare either. I haven't read her latest book. She might be grown now. I might just have to deal with just this. Do you have urban fantasy romance? Urban fantasy romance as a category? Nope, don't. That's really not a bad haul. I'm very close to my goal. I need to calm down and know that that is UFR authors 2020. I need to calm down. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at 920. I didn't quite reach my million goal. Okay, so remember I was talking about books and Amazon and the such. I want to narrow this audience down. Even though I'd rather narrow it down after a million, but I'm gonna narrow this audience down. And I'm gonna narrow it down. Then you got some possibilities here. You want to narrow this audience down by the platform. I believe in when you're doing a Facebook ad, you want to make it as targeted as possible if you want to spend your money wisely. So I would, if I was only in KU, which these books are not going to be, but if I was only in KU, I'd make sure that these people either I would narrow this down to people who own a Kindle Fire, people who like Amazon, people who I would even put in Kindle because there's other Kindle words here. Kindle, Amazon, Kindle, Kindle Store. I would narrow it down like that. These books are going to be wide. So with Apple, like if you were trying to just target Apple Books readers, I would do iOS devices. You can even do Apple, owns an iPad, things like that, because those are more going to be, do they have Apple Books yet? But I would do it like that. For Google Play, what do people who have Google Play use? Android. Don't at me. So I would do Android users. I would do Android users if I was just looking for people with Google Play. Same thing with if you were doing the Nook. You could either do the Nook or you could do the Barnes & Noble or Barnes & Noble Nook. I'm not going to use any of those just yet. I'm going to keep it a little bit broad, and I'm going to narrow it down to books. I could do books. I could do ebooks, and I'm going to do ebooks, actually. I'm not going to just do books. I'm going to do ebooks because I'm trying to find ebook readers who read those books. Because even though those are traditional people, a lot of those readers might be buying the paperback, so I'm going to narrow it down to ebooks, and let's see what that does to my audience. I lost. It's a targeted audience, though. I need to get over myself. That's a good targeted audience. Yeah. So all that rambling to show you that that is how I create a highly targeted audience using Facebook. Again, I had a very specific goal with this audience. It's for urban fantasy romance. It's going to be for books that are wide, so which is one of the reasons that I'm using Facebook, because a lot of urban fantasy romance is on Amazon with indie authors. This would be a great opportunity to use a targeted AMS or targeted BookBub ads with the indie author names, because you can do that granular targeting with an AMS ad or with a BookBub ad. But I'm going wide with this, so I'm looking for a bigger audience, and 800,000 is a good number. So I'm going to save that audience to use for later. It'll take, oh no, it's already ready. Woohoo. So that's going to be there waiting for me once I get my books back and I start to make the ad creatives for that particular audience. I'm so excited to get these books back. I hope that was helpful. I will explain why I aim for the number of potential audience reach that I do when I actually make the ad. It's not going to make sense if I'm just telling you words right now. I want you to see why I do it. It's going to make sense when I can show you the math of why I do it. But that's how I create a targeted ad. I hope you guys found this helpful. Please make sure that you are thinking about who are my target audience, who are my target authors? What are those targeted titles? What are some targeted interests, movies, television shows, fandoms that I could use to create my own Facebook audience for my own books? But again, guys, you want to try to keep it narrow. So you could have, again, if you were doing young adult vampires, you could do Twilight and Stephanie Meyer and like Team Edward all in one ad, because that's very targeted. But I wouldn't do like Twilight and then Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Sookie Stackhouse Mysteries, because that's just too broad of an audience. Try to make sure to target who those readers are. Again, I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.